Lighting is a critical element of any video, but fortunately it's not hard to get great results with the right video lighting techniques. In this video, we have a full video lighting tutorial to get you results fast. Hey, it's Justin Brown here from Primal Video, where we help you amplify your business and brand with video. If you're new here, then make sure you click that subscribe button, and all the links to everything we mentioned in this video, you can find linked in the description box below. So let's jump into it. Now, lighting is a critical element of any video, but most people overcomplicate it, and it really isn't as hard as most people think. Your lighting doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to focus on a few simple things to get great results consistently. In fact, using these tips I'm about to run through, it takes me less than 1 minute to get the lighting set up in this studio every time I go to shoot a new video. I know what you're thinking, that's fine for you, you're a professional, but I've taught these techniques to a lot of students who now get the same results in about the same amount of time. And while we're talking lighting, make sure to drop a note in the comments below with your #1 video lighting tip. And check out some of the other responses while you're down there too, because we always get some incredible ideas and insights from the rest of the Primal Video community. Okay, before we get into the gear and what lighting you can actually use, it's important to start with the fundamentals, the key fundamentals of lighting. And this really is to light your subject first. So whether it's a product that you're creating in the video, whether it's a person, whether it's yourself that is on camera, whatever the focus of your video is, light that first, and then use whatever additional lights you have or have access to light the rest of the scene as a secondary. And it should be pretty obvious as to why, but that is the key focus of the video, and that is the part that really has to look good. It's interesting, we see a lot of people worrying about the background and lighting the background, yet the light on themselves is really poor. So flip that and light yourself first. Make sure that you look good, because you're the one that's going to be creating the content and delivering the content to your viewers. Make sure they can see you and that you look good in your videos, and your background and everything, it's all definitely a secondary. Now that you've got that sorted and you're gonna light yourself first, or the subject of your video first, the next point is to start with what you have. So if you don't have any additional lights, then use a window, use natural light. Just sitting in front of a window is going to give you much better light than having your back to the window. If you don't have any windows or it's dark outside, then use whatever lights you have around you. It could be desk lights that you bring in. It could be a lamp or anything that you've got that you can use just to light up yourself at the absolute minimum, then that will be much better than using no lights at all. Now, if you don't have access to any other lights, then you can use whatever lights you have on in your room. Now, if you're going to be filming in a room that has ceiling lights in there and you don't have too many lights, then it's a good idea to have these ceiling lights on too while you're filming to give your scene more light. Now, the only thing you got to watch out for is if you are going to be standing directly underneath one of those ceiling lights, it can cast some pretty bad shadows under your eyes and on your face, and also on your body as well. So you want to make sure that if you are filming indoors and you do have the light on to give your scene more light, that you aren't positioning yourself directly under one of those lights. And just to show you what I'm talking about here, this room that I'm filming in actually has 4 ceiling lights. The one that I have turned off is the one directly above my head. But if I turn it on now, then you can see we've got some shadows from my neck and from my head on my shirt. We've also probably got some darker areas under my eyes. The whole thing just doesn't look that great. So like I said, in my case, this is the light that I turn off, and it's off. If at all possible, and in an ideal situation, you'll position yourself so that you are slightly in front of your ceiling light, so that it's lighting up the back of your head and around to your shoulders, and not lighting you up from the front. Now, with all of this, it's really important to remember that lighting and video in general is an art. It's a creative process, and there really is no right or wrong to it. There are some tips and things that we're covering in this video to help you get better results, but at the end of the day, if you like the look, if you like the shadow, if you like the bags under your eyes, then go for it. If that's all you can get in your videos based on your shooting scenario, then keep running with it, because the content at the end of the day is the most important part, and don't stress too much about your lighting. Some people will really like the look of having a harsh shadow on the face where one side is lit really well and the other side isn't. Others will like a more consistent look or a more even lighting look to their videos where there's not so much of a harsh shadow, which is kind of like what we're going for here. But again, there's no right or wrong with this. It is a creative process. So with all of this, where should you be positioning your lights? Well, as we said, the focus of your videos is yourself. So what I would suggest is that you get at least one light or one light source, a window, or whatever it is you've got to light yourself up. So what that means is you're going to need to have that light source somewhere near the direction that you're facing. Could be right next to the camera, could be on top of the camera, underneath the camera, somewhere around this area here to light you up so that you're lit up from the front and that your face is lit well. Now, if you've got access to 2 lights, then you could use one of those lights to light yourself up in the scene and the second light to light up the background to make that look a bit better. Or you could use the 2 lights to light yourself up and get a different look. Because again, you're the focus or the priority in the video, and having you lit well is the most important thing. So if you are going to use 2 lights, then what I would suggest is that you actually separate the 2 and move them a bit further away from your camera. So in my studio setup here, for example, I've got 2 lights that are lighting me up. I've got one off to the side here and one off to the side here. And they're both probably on about a 45-degree angle from where I'm standing. Now, what you would normally do here if you're going to run multiple lights is to have one primary light source as the main light that is lighting you up, the brightest light. So in our case, it's the one here. This is the brightest light. So that's the main one that is lighting up this side of my face. Now, to counteract some of that bright light and to fill in some of the shadows on this side, I do have a smaller light, a less powerful light up in the corner here that is lighting me up from this side and really filling in some of those darker areas on my face. Now, the other big thing that I've got in the room here is a giant window off to the side. Now, depending on the time of day and how bright it is outside, this can obviously change things up, but having these 2 primary lights that are lighting me up means that whatever else is going on outside, obviously the room will get darker and brighter around that, but I'm still lit consistently because I'm the focus of the video. Now, that's something that you may or may not have already noticed, is that because it is so late in the afternoon and I am filming with this window open, the light is changing a lot. And the light would have already changed quite a bit now to this start of the video, but it doesn't really matter. Only the background is changing and the light on me is remaining pretty consistent. Now, that's all, once again, obviously personal preference. I easily could shut the window and have everything locked down and have no changing variables like light changing outside. That is all personal preference. And in a lot of cases, you may want to do that. But personally, I don't mind having some natural light come in through the window, as long as it's not changing things too much and making the videos distracting for the viewers watching. Now, there's another really popular lighting setup called 3-point lighting. This is obviously where you're using 3 lights to light up your subject, but it's something that you'll see a lot in documentaries, on broadcast and in films, and even on a lot of YouTube channels as well. So the idea here is you've got, once again, one really bright primary light that's going to shine on the side of your subject's face. And then you have a second fill light on the other side that's going to fill in some of those darker shadows. And the third light is usually positioned behind your subject and in a lot of cases up high, throwing some nice light down to separate your subject from the background. So it's lighting up the back of their head or the top of their head and the shoulders to really give some depth to, again, separate them from the background. Now, while I'm a big fan of the 3-point lighting setup, and we do use it a lot for any documentary shoots or for a lot of corporate work as well, it's actually not my go-to recommendation for setting up for content videos or for videos like this for YouTube. For most people and for most setups, I think it's overkill, and you probably won't even notice the subtle differences that the third light, or that even in some cases that a second light is going to do for your video. So don't let that stop you creating the content. Now, if you do want to get more advanced with your lighting and you do have more lights to play with, then you can start to experiment and adjust the different brightnesses and play around with shadows and really get creative. And once you've dialed in your look and you're happy with how you look in your videos, then you can play around with the background and get creative with that as well. But remember, the focus needs to be on you. And the final tip on how to get everything set up fast every time you're going to shoot is to try and leave everything either exactly set up the way that you want it or almost exactly set up the way that you want it. So it's just a matter of walking in, turning on your lights, making any minor adjustments or tweaks if you need to, and then you're good to go. This is going to save you a heap of time setting everything up and packing everything up every time you want to shoot. If everything is almost the way that you need it and all you're doing is just adjusting the brightness up and down to dial it in properly for that day and for those lighting conditions, it's going to make it much, much faster for you to get set up and get your content creation underway. One other tip to remember when you're setting up your lights is to position them so they're slightly higher than eye level. So whether you're sitting or standing, make those adjustments so that your lights are just higher than your eye level, and that's going to give you that nice little twinkle in the eyes that you can see in a lot of videos. So as always, start with what you have. Now, if you don't already, then I suggest that you get at least one light, and it could be something like the YONGNUO YN300 Air light. These are the lights that I'm actually using in my studio here, and these are also my go-to portable travel lights as well for any filming that I'm doing on the road. These throw a really nice soft light, and they can be powered by either batteries or you can plug them into the wall and power them that way as well. Now, if you do want some more recommendations on both portable and studio lighting kits, then check out the link on screen now, featuring some of our top recommendations and what we like about them. And I'll see you soon.